This is my first time of seeing you in person.
Oh, thank you.
So, I'd like to thank you for the eloquence with which you spoke.
Thank you. Well, this is not my first time to see you. I've always seen you around. You are a great man of Africa, and thank you for being part of this party.
Thank you very much. One of the most impressive things you said was about MDC being a party that respects the law.
Indeed.
And always acts in the course of law.
Sure.
I take it that now that the Constitutional Court has made a pronouncement that in keeping with MDC's loyalty to law, that you will accept the pronouncement of the Constitutional Court. And in that context, I was also very impressed by what you said about being ready for dialogue. Did I understand you correctly to say that MDC and you personally as the leader of MDC are ready for dialogue in order to heal the nation?
In fact, we have made a resolution, Honorable Secretary General, to say for Zimbabwe to move forward. We have an African saying that says, "Zvanza zvinogezana."
Isn't there an element of contradiction in saying that you are an extremely law-abiding party, but at the same time does not respect the pronouncement of the Constitutional Court?
We respect the pronouncement of the Constitutional Court. In fact, as an advocate, I'm an officer of the court. But the Constitutional Court is a court of law and a court of justice. It is not a court of politics. Politics is about legitimacy. And our contention is based on legitimacy. We have the right to say that, Mr. Mnangagwa, you are not legitimate because of the result we have. Yes, we acknowledge the Constitutional Court. Yes, we have taken note of the verdict, but we also have the right to disagree with the court because it's allowed, it's permissible. It does not subtract from our rule of law instincts and our rule of law character. We continue to be so, but we have a legitimate issue arising out of an election result, which we know by fact and by truth that it did not give Mr. Mnangagwa victory. And I've heard this thing to say, but how did Mr. Mnangagwa's party get 2/3 and your party did not get 2/3? Even if you look at the vote, a lot of the people who voted for me were voting for ZANU-PF at parliamentary level in some cases, but they would vote for me in the presidential. So the tally of the presidential, we had more votes than Mr. Mnangagwa, who had half the votes to the vote of his parliamentarians, even by the results that are there.
Yes, but would you agree that internationally, that the pronouncement of the highest court in any land is to be respected and accepted by everyone who is law-abiding?
Well, it has to be honored, it has to be respected. That's why we have said the Constitutional Court has ruled. We acknowledge their decision, but we still have political legitimate issues that have to be resolved. And they can only be resolved through what you have already alluded to, the issue of political dialogue. And that's why we have insisted that political dialogue is the way forward. And we've put on the table a 5-point plan. This is not the first time that there's been political dialogue in this country, especially where there's a disjuncture between the path of law and the path of the reality and the facts on the ground. We need to bring the two together. Honorable President Motlane, you know how you helped us in Pretoria to try and broker an understanding of how to get out of such a political imbroglio or political situation. That is what we are saying. Going forward, we must be able to resolve the legitimate issues away from the courts. We must be able to resolve issues of reform that are comprehensive so that we don't have a repeat and a recurrence of disputes of elections year in, year out, every election cycle. We are reproducing a vicious cycle of negative politics. We want to deal with that. Let us have a path to nation building, a path to peace building. That is what we have put on the table. Mr. Mnangagwa doesn't seem to have appetite for it. And that's why we are saying we will then use democratic tools to make sure that we bring him to the negotiating table to resolve the political legitimacy issue. Such is our trajectory.
Well, my last comment and question is, being a very distinguished lawyer as you are, and as I have read all about you,
Thank you.
You will agree that the harmony in any country
Sure.
depends on acceptance and respect for the separation of powers
Indeed.
between the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary.
Indeed.
And countries work best when this separation of powers is
Indeed.
accepted and respected.
Sure.
And so in that context, given that the highest court of the land has made a pronouncement, I would have thought that you will agree that for harmony in the country, that the pronouncement of the highest court should be accepted and respected by everyone. And of course, the point you make about dialogue can take place and should take place, but all within the context of acceptance and respect for the pronouncement of the highest court.
Harmony starts with the truth. Harmony starts with the reality. Harmony starts with the state, honoring and respecting that there should be no state-party conflation, the conflation of the party and the state, and the attempt to influence the state and its organs. Those are fundamental issues that would then require a political reform agenda and a constitutional reform agenda. And that is what we put on the table. If anything, Mr. Mnangagwa must count himself lucky, Honorable Chair, that he is such a young Zimbabwean who is peace-loving. If I were a trigger-happy young man, there would be a problem in this country. But I've tried to be circumspect, careful, and very careful in what I do, what I say, to keep this country